Alrighty, folks, it is Radio Tekkers live NXT Takeover 36 review. Lots of good times, great memories to be had. Let's go. Alrighty, I am your host for this evening, the Texas gentleman Tanner Pruitt, and along with me here, as always, frequently, Mags. Mags, how are you doing?
It never goes away. We've literally just been having this conversation backstage, how I don't bring any kind of quality to the team. I just turn up and I'm there.
No,
but yeah, I'm doing good.
You bring
lots. I'm very Harper, so apologies now for anything that I may say in this stream.
It's no sleep Mags. That's what we're getting tonight. No sleep Mags.
You bring lots of quality Mags. I can assure you of that.
Low quality. Lots of low, subpar quality.
And back for a second helping here from last week's NXT debate.
Down. Oh, I'm not even going to attempt that.
Yeah, you're trying really hard.
I've messed that right up.
Yes, right underneath my panel here, Mr. Ray Cash. Ray, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm sleepy for Mags. Like I want to take a nap for you. Can I transfer that energy across the pond to the Black Country?
Simon, who's in the chat, seeing as you're closer to the Black Country than I am, can he transfer that energy to you over there in the Black Country? Let me know.
And yes, Simon is in the chat. Hello, Simon. Hope you're doing well. He's using hashtag only here for Ori.
Look
for the record.
Before we go any further, does it not really kind of like grind your gears that Ori took over at Chair Shot? He's become the draw there. Then we bring her on here, and she's automatically first showing the draw here on Radio Tekkers. That's ridiculous.
Clearly, when us three gentlemen are together, whoever's the fourth is the person that they care about. Because
nobody likes us. It just is like, oh, they look. Oh, those three. No.
You know what? I like you guys, and I value the fact that you are here.
And with that being said, we have the debut of Ori the Draw. Ori, how are you doing today?
Hello, I am good. I am very good. I have coffee.
Hooray. Hooray. You made a smart decision here before the show to get coffee.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Simon does want to make it clear here in the chat. He says it's also great to see you as well, Ray.
Yeah.
So
it's just me and Ray.
But Tanner and Mags, they can go and do one. I'm only here for the two draws. Yeah, cool, sir. Cool. We'll speak tomorrow.
Oh, that's very ominous. But we have a wrestling show to get to here tonight, folks. NXT Takeover 36 was a wild ride right from the start here, and I'm just gonna. I'm kind of in shock by some of these results here, guys. What did we think of the show overall? I'll start with Ori.
I thought it was great. It's been a long time since I've watched an NXT, whether it's the show or a takeover. And there were some parts of it that just reminded me why I like NXT so much. You know, it's like, man, I've been really sleeping on this. And so I thought it was a good card. I thought it was really good outcomes. Some of them surprising. And yeah, just really good all around.
I would tend to agree. Yes. Ray, what did you think of NXT Takeover 36? Any initial thoughts?
Well, y'all know NXT is my baby. That is the number one thing that I watch in professional wrestling. So, of course, I was excited. You know, we know there's a lot of inconsistency or we don't know what's going on in the air. So, normally when you have those shows, I just didn't want to feel like if the show felt like kind of final, and it didn't. Like there was a lot of it was a fantastic show. Takeovers always hit. Even the worst takeover at worst is like a 7.5 out of 10. You know, like all the takeovers hit. So it just made me feel good that it didn't feel like the end of an era. Like a lot of people kind of felt it felt like we're gonna keep on rolling, the train's not stopping. So yeah, I loved it. I think it was a great show.
Awesome. Mags, initial takeaways from Takeover.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo pretty much what everyone else is thinking, that this absolutely blew pretty much everything over the weekend out of the water in terms of in-ring. For the results, I'm surprised that people were shocked at some of them, because much like Mark in the chat, I pretty much nailed all these picks. These were exactly how I thought that the matches would go. And we've obviously all been hearing the rumors of NXT changing, and maybe this was going to be the final takeover. There's a lot of kind of reaches and presumptions in the IWC. But if all that is true, what a last hurrah to have, because it was outstanding. I loved pretty much everything about the show. It was so good. A real kind of return to form for NXT for me.
And it's very interesting that you put it that way, and it's an interesting place for us to start here tonight. And I actually want to start the show, the review, with the main event, because I feel like that has the most implications on what you just brought up. There's obviously the Ariel Helwani interview going around with Nick Khan on the internet, and a lot of people are taking bits and pieces of it and making sound bites out of it, and
very much out of context.
I was about to say, there's a lot of stuff that, and I agree with you, that's been taken out of context, and that people are saying, oh, well, I think he means this, or I think he means that, or NXT is going to be only guys that are 6'5" and 350, and it's going to be Bruno Sammartino
8 hours long.
It's going to be,
and Raw's going to be 4 hours.
It's going to be nuts.
Mags will never sleep again.
Possibly
I don't watch
not.
Raw SmackDown anyway, so that it could be 24 hours long for me.
But my point here is, how poetic is it that at the end of the night we had Karrion Kross, who, for better or worse, has not been the most esteemed champion perhaps in NXT history, dropping the title to Samoa Joe, who is now the first ever 3-time NXT champion, as we're headed into this new era. Kind of a bit of a return to the old of NXT here. I'll start again with Ori. What did you make of this main event and the results and the implications?
I thought the match was really good. I feel like we were seeing more of the old Joe, like we saw in TNA Impact and whatnot, especially, and maybe some of that's nostalgia and the chance that we got, that we used to get back then. But I wasn't overly impressed with Karrion Kross. He was better than I expected, and I think that's because I've seen so many people talk about how bad he is. And it also could just be that Joe really made him look good. I'm perfectly willing to go with that theory as well. The results, I think they went exactly as the way they should. I like that Joe got him over clean. There were no shenanigans. I'm perfectly fine with this outcome. Completely.
Good deal. Ray, same kind of question here, but I'll give you a little bit of a twist. Obviously, a lot of what we see when an NXT champion drops the title is the inevitable, oh, he's getting the call-up. And this one kind of seems like it's gone in reverse, that Karrion Kross got the call-up before he, really... I'll get to that here in a second. But before he got, before he dropped the NXT title. What does this mean for Killer Kross in particular, or Karrion Kross? I'm sorry.
We can go with the old school name. I'm with it. Can I tell y'all a secret?
Ooh,
of course.
I mean, you are live on the internet right now. But
you
yes.
might want to mute your mic.
No, I'm just talking with 3 of my friends. What's the internet? I'm a Karrion Kross fan. I enjoy his work, and I've spoken with this with Mags ad nauseum. I am flabbergasted at how quick people turn on this dude. I am not gonna sit here and tell you that he is like the perfect wrestler. I know that, and he was massively miscast in NXT, which is the land of work rate. He's not that guy. Now he can work. Don't get it twisted. Any guy that is a judo, I don't know what his belt level is, but any guy that is proficient in some form of judo can work. So he can work, but he's not. He's miscast. He's been miscast. So to answer your question, he was already gone. This was essentially just a way to kind of get the belt back to NXT, put over somebody that had essentially been done wrong by the firing, which, I mean, it was done dirty. I think we all can accept that. And just so the more interesting thing to me was how they got to it, and the match was good. I disagree with you a bit, Ori, because I look at it the other way. I look like Kross carried Joe, and that's not a diss to Joe. The reason I say that is because Joe was visibly winded early, and I don't blame him for that. He hasn't wrestled in over a year, and every wrestler will tell you that in-ring shape is different than regular in shape. You can run a marathon, and then you get in the ring and you run the ropes for 5 minutes and you're gone. So it's just a different type of shape, and Joe hasn't done that in so long. Also, I know I'm sounding like I'm kind of down on Joe, and I'm not. I promise you I'm not. I love Samoa Joe. He's a legend. I'm so happy he's back. I'm so happy he's the champ. But I looked at Joe tonight, and for a second, there was a moment where I was like, you know how you look at the wrestler who's 60, who should have retired 20 years ago, but he's still working for a check? And I know Joe isn't working for a check. I'm not saying that, but I just looked at him and it felt like, man, why are you still doing this? Because he felt so, it didn't feel like Joe anymore. It felt like, well, Ori said it perfectly, nostalgia. And I know he's still got a lot in the tank. I know things will get better as he gets more into it and more regular working and things of that nature. But, you know, the match got better as it went on. Joe dropped him on his head when he did the power slam, which scared the hell out of me. I told y'all in the chat we had going. Ultimately, the right guy won because Joe needed to get the belt back to pass it on to the new guard. But I just really hope that he continues to get back to his form, because he wasn't there tonight the way I expected him to be.
I mean, that's definitely an interesting take, and Mike JC's here in the chat, who he was with me last night. He notes that he feels like Samoa Joe doesn't really fit the supposed new direction of NXT at all, based off of what we've heard.
I think I'd actually like to counter that, because if the rumors are true and we're getting a more stripped back kind of a NXT that was there to build the next generation of stars, if we're going back to basics with that, I think Joe actually does fit that kind of criteria, because he's still he still has that kind of indie style of wrestling, but he's also had a lot of experience on the main roster, so he can kind of really help younger, more indie style wrestlers to transition into working a WWE style, a hard camera style. So I think having someone like Joe at the top of the card and really kind of like taking these new younger talents under his wing, I think that's only a good thing for the brand of NXT in this new direction that we're going. And I just want to kind of bounce off another point that Ray made about Karrion Kross. I don't think the Karrion Kross that we have seen in NXT is at all different to the Karrion Kross that was getting praised on the indies. This guy was being lauded by every single big name company because of that style. And I think what we've seen in NXT is exactly what we saw on them indies. It's just, is it the fickleness of fandom? Is it a case of we want a new shine, and then when we've got it, we want something else? Whatever the factor is, he just didn't connect with the same kind of audience that he was connecting with before he made that move to NXT. Maybe it's an issue that anybody who signs from NXT who are hot on the indies are always going to have that kind of issue where you're not signing for their particular favorite company, so we're automatically going to kind of bury you in terms of the IWC. Maybe it's an issue with that.
Perhaps.
Can I respond to that real quick, Tanner? Just 1 second, real quick. First and foremost, Joe is a player coach, which is why he fits, essentially. To your point, the match they had that was, thank you. The match that they had that was a fatal 5-way, and I think it was Gargano, Pete Dunne,
Kyle O'Reilly,
Adam Cole, and Kross.
Yeah.
That match showed why he doesn't fit in NXT, because he doesn't wrestle like those guys wrestle, and he's so different. And people want in NXT because they've, it's the alternative, right? To be like that. And Kross isn't that guy. And when he first came in, there was a lot more people like Kross. all those guys moved on, and now it's those guys who aren't like Kross, so Kross don't fit. Henceforth, we don't like him. That's my opinion.
I mean, that's definitely an interesting take. I want to take a brief pause here in the crossfire to just acknowledge that we have wrestling royalty in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. The Queen of Indie has joined us in the chat here. She praises Mags' Yankees hat.
I don't know if she's praising the hat. I think she's just shocked at the hat.
Maybe the hands are like, get the hat away. Get the hat away.
No, the hands are definitely for Ori. Ori again, stealing our limelight, stealing our glory.
Yes, Ori's got excellent green hair, ladies and gentlemen.
Ori's amazing. We love Ori.
Shout out to Crossfire, by the way. That was good. I caught that. I don't know if anybody else caught that. I caught that.
Ray just picking up on the subtle details of my poor hosting capabilities. Oh goodness!
I won't argue that point.
Let's go to the beginning of the card here, guys. We'll get back to Joe and Kross here in a little bit, but we started tonight's NXT Takeover 36 with Cameron Grimes, backed by Ted DiBiase, taking on LA Knight. If Grimes lost, he would become Knight's butler forever.
How are we glossing over Ridge Holland? That's disrespectful to a northern Yorkshireman from my neck of the woods. How rude! Yeah, but
do you want to tell us?
Squashed Trey Baxter, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
But he
you
did
good?
cut a good promo. He did cut a really good promo calling out Timothy Thatcher, which is a match I'm very, very interested in seeing.
That's going to be very, very fun. I'm sure. Yeah. Lots of violence. I'm certain. But yes, we'll talk about violence more here momentarily. But Cameron Grimes took on LA Knight. Obviously, Cameron Grimes, if he wins, he's the $1 million champion. If he loses, he's the butler for LA Knight forever. Ori, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was great. I've seen Cameron Grimes before live. That was my introduction to Cameron Grimes, and I'm like, who is this Joker? And then he got into the ring, and he can go. He can really go. And LA Knight, I'm not as familiar with. I feel like I know him from somewhere else, though, and I just can't.
Eli Drake.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. In all fairness, I'll be honest with you. When I started watching BTE, it took me like 20 episodes to realize they were New Generation from Impact. So that's how Generation Me. Thank you. Like that's how my brain works, like or doesn't work more specifically. But yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Cameron is really, really good. I think he's been a little underrated. So for me, being someone that has seen him before and really enjoyed watching him, to see where he is now, because that was probably 3 years ago, maybe 4, give or take. And to see kind of how far he's come, like I'm really impressed, and I'm glad he won tonight. I think it was a great match. I think, it showcased both people off very well. Very well.
Ray, thoughts on the match, sir?
Ori spoke on it. Cameron has grown so much. I mean, I don't know if anybody here caught him in PWG, but I remember seeing him. Oh, okay, shout out to Tanner. I remember seeing him very prevalently in Impact, with Hurricane Helms and Andrew Everett, they're like grew up together and whatnot.
Shout out to Trevor Lee.
Trevor Lee, yeah. The Technical Savage. There you go. That's a nickname for you. Yes. And he always could go in the ring, but there was always this kind of understated charisma he wasn't allowed to show. And I feel like that's the one positive of him being in NXT is he's finally got a chance to pull that out. And so like he's grown so much in this, this story. I know a lot of people, it's been fun to me because like give me craziness. That's entertaining as hell to me. And he's entertaining. Like, how long you want me to wash your balls? Top notch. That's exactly the type of stuff I want to see. But it allowed for him to do the one thing he hadn't had a chance to do in NXT, and that is garner sympathy, because he's your classic babyface, right? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I fell asleep during this match because I was pulling a mags all weekend and moving around. this will be my first. As soon as we're off, I'm gonna go back and watch it because I heard it was fantastic. But I know Cameron can go, and trilogies are hard in wrestling, right? Because you have to make every match different, and when you start off with the gimmick like they did with the ladder match, you have to continue to kind of flip it. So to see the praise that this match is getting, knowing that it's their third, and knowing that LA Knight isn't known necessarily for his in-ring proficiency, completely believe that it was a great match and the right person won. And shout out to the fact that old boy from backwoods North Carolina rocking with $1 Million Man. What's up with that? Ain't that great?
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really, really is amazing. And I think I can basically repeat what everyone's saying, that in-ring wise, there was never a doubt that Cameron Grimes can hang with the best of them. I think what Cameron has learned in NXT is that character work and the fact that he can not really make any kind of changes to the character work, but flip from being the most despicable heel to being the super hottest babyface. It's a lost art nowadays in wrestling. This match for me was a brilliant way of kicking off the takeover show. We got a really good feel good moment with the ending, and how cool is it to have $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase saying your catchphrase alongside with you? That must have given Cameron Grimes kind of shivers down his spine. But yeah, this match was brilliant. Both guys sold absolutely brilliant. Cameron maybe sold a little bit too much. This guy was smashing his head into the turnbuckles on more than one occasion, and it kind of really got me worried there. His CTE is a real thing, Cameron, so just maybe calm down a little bit. But yeah, Cameron Grimes as $1 Million champion, all is well with the world. That was absolutely amazing. And I think LA Knight, for all the NXT roster, I think he's the most main roster style wrestler of the lot, even more than I would say Karrion Kross. So I fully expect him to be moving up in the very near future. I think Vince will absolutely fawn over his rock hard chiseled body and his great mat work. I think it was just a superb way to start off a really good card.
I like how you use the word fawn. Yeah, I would absolutely agree with everybody here on the panel in that Cameron Grimes, he does seem to be, and yes, hello Connor, hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us in the chat. We greatly appreciate you. Again, Cameron Grimes to me also feels like in this world where we might be seeing NXT take another corner, like another turning of the corner here, he seems like somebody who would fit in that line of people that they would ideally want to look for. You know, they're not the smallest guys. They're not the the Garganos or the Coles or the Ciampas. They're a little bit bigger, but they do seem to bring the entertainment for sure. Same with LA Knight, and I like Mags' point about LA Knight appearing to be the most main roster ready, maybe perhaps Raw or SmackDown ready. I would
mean,
tend to
SmackDown. Don't send anyone to Raw. Never go to Raw.
They gotta have wrestlers, bro. Somebody gotta go.
Somebody's got to save that show.
I mean,
honestly,
it ain't LA now.
I would just rather them just pay actors and then just cut promos. But
just have Raw being a 3
that's not what they're doing.
A 3-hour SmackDown clip show. That's all Raw needs to be.
There you go.
I'll be curious if they did pay actors, if the ratings would change. I'd be curious if anybody would notice.
That would be interesting. I'd be very interested in seeing that work.
Well, you got to be careful after what happened yesterday at SummerSlam. I mean, Slater was okay, but Tiffany Haddish was.
Shout out to the national champion.
Right.
Let's talk about Raquel Gonzalez defeating Dakota Kai to retain the NXT Women's Championship. Mags, I'll start with you here. I personally fully expected Dakota Kai to beat Raquel Gonzalez. I thought that Raquel might be headed up to the main roster here tonight, but looks like we're going to get a further contest here, a further reign of Raquel Gonzalez, and we even got a little bit of a surprise at the very end with Kaylie Ray coming out and making her presence felt. you're obviously a big fan of Kaylie Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been on quite a few podcasts over this SummerSlam weekend, and quite a lot of people had the same mindset of you, which I thought was surprising. A lot of people were saying Raquel Gonzalez is going to be the next person to go up, and I was always in the corner of Dakota being the next one to go up, and that's mainly because of longevity. She's been at NXT for such a long time. Raquel, for me, while she's got a great look, she really carries herself as a champion. I still think she's incredibly green as a wrestler, and she definitely needs more polish. She's not in the kind of space where she can be the ring general. She can't really lead a match yet. And I think there's also a lot of her style of wrestler already on main roster. I mean, she's got a similar look to Charlotte, similar look to Rhea Ripley. So it's not like they're struggling for powerful monster women up there on the main roster. And I think taking her away from NXT, there's not a lot of people down at NXT that are like Raquel Gonzalez. And in terms of Dakota, she's been ready to go up for a long time. The only issue is she's never had that NXT title run, which I think she deserved for the amount of work she's put in. Character change has been one of the very best, going from that kind of cookie cutter face to that cowardly kind of nervous character that we got with Shayna Baszler to being the bitch heel after the turn with Tegan Nox. I thought a title run would have kind of been the icing on the cake, but unfortunately it's not to be. We've seen her have trials and dark matches over on main roster. I think she's primed for that, and this was a great match for her to go out on. Really worked hard, made Raquel look like a huge monster threat, and essentially was giving her flowers at the end with a great match. And then leading into our next feud with Kaylie Ray, record-breaking champion over in NXT UK, always was being primed to come over to the main black and gold brand, and that's a match I'm absolutely looking forward to. Kaylie Ray can certainly guard Raquel Gonzalez to a great match. That's going to be a banger. But yeah, I predicted this exactly how it was going to go down, and it was a better match than I actually thought it would be because of Raquel's greenness. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and yeah, thank you to both the ladies for absolutely bringing it on a weekend where women's wrestling has not had the greatest of times. I think these two have knocked it out of the park.
Well, that was quite the extensive review here, Mags. I appreciate that.
A lot of words come out then. If they made sense, if
they did, they absolutely did, and I sincerely appreciate your analysis here on that. I'll kick it over to Ray next here. Ray, obviously your thoughts on the match, but also the anticipation of Kaylie Ray.
Well, Kaylie Ray is a star, and NXT UK is a great show. They do great stuff, but they don't get the pub that they deserve to get. And Walter is not human. Walter is a Martian. So outside of Walter, like, they really need to. I'd like to see a lot of those great people from NXT UK get more love.
Oh, yes.
Kaylie Ray, I think, is a person who walks in with the credibility, longest reigning women's champ over there, like 500 days or something like that, and instantly gets credibility with whoever she wrestles. And you always wonder at these big shows, like these, not the regular pay-per-views, but the big shows, well, who's next? Well, you think you've beaten, think about it. Raquel beat Io, who was unbeatable, and had a great match, by the way. She beat Ember, who gave her a great match. She beat Dakota, who was the reason she's in NXT, and gave her a great match. Well, who's next? Oh, you got to beat the woman that held the title for like 600 days. So I think that's really cool storytelling to add to that and put more notches, for lack of a better term, on Raquel's belt. Raquel reminds me a lot. For the record, I picked Dakota to win, but that was more like heart over head type situation because I felt like Raquel clearly was going to move on only because of what Mag said. Dakota's been there forever. Raquel's the new hotness there. They got to continue to move it on. And quiet is kept with respect to NXT UK championships because they never change hands. The NXT Women's title is the most prestigious championship in all of WWE. It does not change hands often. And so that's why I'm never offended if somebody doesn't get the title. Bianca should have won the championship. Well, nobody loses it. It doesn't change. Well, Dakota should have won the title. Well, nobody really changes. It's not the admission of not being the top person that other championships are in the company. With that being said, great match. I mean, the counters there were really crisp and really cool. There was the counter where Dakota did Scorpion kick and she picked her up and turned it. Like, it was really cool stuff. And Raquel reminds me a lot of, and take this, please don't take this listen to what I'm saying, because I know it's going to sound crazy. Raquel reminds me a lot of Undertaker in that she works better with smaller people. Taker works terrible with other big people. But when he's with the smaller guys, he's great. Raquel works really good with people who are way smaller than her. And that's something that you want in your host people, because most of the roster is going to be like them and not like you. So, fun match. I was surprised to think too that it was better than I thought it would be, which is always a good thing. And I'm looking forward to Kaylie Ray and Raquel. See how that goes. Kaylie Ray crazy as hell, so she'll do anything to win the title.
Hey, fair enough. Yeah, I can definitely dig that. Ori, again, same question along the same lines here as far as thoughts on the match and Kaylie Ray, but I also kind of want to know what you think about Dakota Kai. We've made a lot of what Raquel Gonzalez is doing. What's next for Raquel Gonzalez? What's next for Dakota Kai, though? Because it seems like she has had these tryout matches. She didn't win the title. A little bit's up in the air for her right now.
So, because I've been out of the NXT and in some cases the entire WWE loop for quite a while, I wasn't overly invested in this match. And I'll be honest with you, because of all of the wrestling that we've seen from women's matches specifically since Friday, I went into this with a great sense of trepidation. Like, I knew there was going to be a match, but we've had so much shenanigans all weekend with the women's matches for one way or another, and it made me nervous. And I know Dakota's been there for a while. Even though I've been, out of the loop, I still know the name Dakota Kai. So in some ways, I did expect her to win because I know she's never held that title and she's been there a hot minute. And it kind of surprised me that she didn't. However, if this was, I think it would kind of be interesting to go ahead and move her up to the main roster, having never won. Sometimes our most interesting champions are the ones who don't win, that we're constantly cheering for, that are constantly chasing, and it makes it more compelling. The three of us, Tanner and Mags, we had this whole conversation about Charlotte earlier about how I am just over Charlotte. Put her in a situation, maybe not exactly like Baron Corbin, but put her in a situation where she's losing. She has to come from behind. She has to really fight for it tooth and nail. I would be more behind her. I would be more invested. And I think that's what made for me this match more interesting, backing Dakota Kai and wanting to see Dakota Kai win, is because she's constantly there and working and reaching and just falls ever so slightly short, that it makes you want to root for her more, whether she's heel or face. Heel or face has nothing to do with it. You want to see her succeed. And so where it goes from here, as far as Dakota Kai, I think it would be interesting to go ahead and move her up, having never won a women's title. Put her in the chase for a women's title on main roster and use that as an angle and make it work. As far as Kaylie Ray, I'm vaguely familiar with her. I was surprised to see her. I was very impressed with Raquel Gonzalez, and I agree with Mags. It looks like, on paper, a banger of a match, and I kind of want to see it.
Yeah. Speaking of bangers of a match, let's
what a
let's
segue.
let's
What
move
a
on.
segue.
Let's move on to the match that I wanted to talk about all
Yes.
night long. Walter
Adam
puts up.
Cole. Oh, yeah. Right.
Now. We'll
Wait,
get
wait,
there.
wait.
Collins
wait
versus
now.
Trey
We-
Baxter.
We will. Yes.
No.
No,
Ooh, I'm gonna lose
Walter
my
puts
headphones.
his NXT UK championship over 800 some odd days. Almost 900 days is what they were talking about on commentary against Ilya Dragunov. Now this match has a bit of specialness in my heart here because I've seen these guys do this match in Germany, in England, and now they're bringing this to North America. And I've seen for years what these two do when they're in the ring together. It's very, very special. And they had that really great match in NXT UK. Very, very special. I didn't know that could be topped by these two. And apparently, the two of them woke up this morning and they both chose violence. Ori, I'm going to go to you first here. My mind is blown. Talk me through this thing. What did you think?
I have seen, so the same card that I saw Cameron Grimes on, I saw Walter for the first time against Trent Seven, I believe. And
I know the card you're talking about, actually.
yeah, it was Progress, Super
Yeah.
Strong Style 16, day 2. I was there to see it live. I had heard of Trent Seven. I hadn't heard of Walter, had no idea who he was. And holy cheese balls, what a match. It was phenomenal. And then at the same time, on the same card, on the same day, I also got to see Ilya Dragunov. And he came out when he initially came out, I was like, who is this goofy stomping person? Like I didn't get it initially.
Mm-hmm.
But once he got in the ring and got going, I'm like, okay, yeah, I like this. And then I've seen these guys in NXT UK, in Progress, in other places, and it's killer every time. These two guys have the hardest chops, the loudest chops in the business currently. They are just brutal. They reverberate, and it's so cool. And Ilya Dragunov just bruises really nicely to show that violence. Like, I don't even know how else to say it. Like, he just, and how these two guys get better every time they face each other is just, I don't get it. I don't get how it works. I'm glad that it works like that. It's phenomenal. I could have watched another 30 minutes of these guys just go. I could watch these guys go against each other and other people for hours on end. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, this match was really surprising, and with you being someone who's seen a lot of Progress yourself, I mean, the only match that really comes close for me in terms of just the sheer again, we keep using the word violence, but this was a very violent, brutal match. Obviously, this proved that you don't have to have no DQ to have this sheer level of brutality.
Yeah.
But the only match I can think of that even comes close to this was Timothy Thatcher facing Walter during their feud for the Atlas Division title back in Progress, and that match was stunningly brutal. I'm going to kick it over to Ray then.
One other thing.
Yes,
the other
please.
thing that caught me about this match is there was a lot of traditional old school moves between these two guys, and that's just kind of how they wrestle. It's a lot more of the British strong style that I really love and appreciate. And I know a lot of people, they get caught up in the new style and the flippy shit and all that other kind of stuff. These guys prove that you can do an old school style match with a couple of newer high flying moves and still make it look really good and have an entire crowd behind you. Like, this was old school classic wrestling at its absolute best.
Yeah, and you've made a fan in Simon in the chat. He says, "Holy cheese balls is getting stolen for chain wrestling." We hope you're okay with that.
I'm perfectly fine with that as long as I get credited. No,
there you go. I felt like it was coming, but just wanted to make sure.
She knows her worth. She knows her worth.
100%. I can definitely appreciate that.
Merch link in bio soon.
Ray, I'm going to kick it over to you now. I saw you definitely agreeing with Ori about the British strong style aspect of this match, and yes, I would fully agree with that as well. They definitely kept it old school. Talk to me about it though, man, because I feel like these kind of matches, when NXT UK gets their spotlight on a takeover, they do something so different from what everybody else does, and it just captures the imagination.
There is beauty in nuance. And I think that is lost a lot in this generation of wrestlers. Not that the other way isn't the problem. I'm not saying that everybody should be this way, but there is beauty in nuance. Look at a guy like Walter. Walter doesn't have a definitive finishing move. He bludgeons you to death. He either chops you to hell, he power bombs you to hell, he splashes you to hell, or he chokes you to hell. It's beautiful because it is literally just brutality. And there was a quote that Sheamus said once. I think he was talking about fighting Cesaro, I think at the time, where he says, "You hit your enemies hard, you hit your friends harder."
Yes.
And I didn't know about the history of them going all around the entire
world
until Ori just mentioned that. So to hear that lets me know they got to be the best of damn friends, because the way they hit each other, I mean, I had never seen a slap to the back of the neck until I saw these dudes wrestle, right? The things that they do, and clearly they're not human, they're aliens that just came, from the government here in America did open up that aliens really exist. So these are probably two of the ones they were talking about. Jokes aside, it was just it's the first match I saw. I've always been a fan of Regal, Dave Taylor, Fit Finlay, and those British people of our generation. I didn't see Johnny Saints a little before my time. But when I saw Pete Dunne in the first UK tournament, it blew my mind. Because I hadn't seen anything like that in this generation of somebody like that. Like, I'd seen Sabre, but Sabre is different than Pete, right? It's a different type of joint manipulation than Pete. There's a viciousness with Pete Dunne, the bruiserweight style. And you get that in 6'5", 300 pounds with Walter, and you get that in 5'10", right, 210 pounds of insanity. I don't think I've ever seen a more insane wrestler in my life than Ilya Dragunov. And I've watched George Animal Steel. I've seen The Missing Link. This man is batshit crazy.
Yes,
beautiful match. And I love to see title changes because I love to see the reality come out. And after he won, they know all this. But to see his reaction, it was almost like he was not in this world at that moment. Mm-hmm. He was probably high off the pain. But nonetheless, I love this stuff. That's the stuff I live for. That's the type of, I love these type of matches. You don't have to be hardcore to be hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this was a hardcore match with not one weapon.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Oh, no, there were weapons.
There were weapons.
They were human weapons.
Flesh and bone.
Yeah, they were human weapons.
They grew them themselves. That's what happened.
One small note. I'm not a big believer that blood matters. Like, I get that there are moments where blood can enhance it, but you don't have to have blood all the time, right? Uh-huh. But the second he got cut last week in NXT, I knew for the Walter match, that's gonna come to play.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And it, as you saw.
And I love what you noted, particularly about Ilya Dragunov. And obviously, we can all agree here on this panel, I think by a show of hands, Ilya Dragunov might be the craziest wrestler going today. Yes. All right, cool. We're all in agreement here. There was a particularly beautiful moment of wrestling storytelling, knowing that Ilya Dragunov for years has challenged Walter from promotion to promotion to promotion to promotion, all around Europe, all around the world, unsuccessful each and every time. And now he's here, and he's so close to hitting, the victory here, to getting to beating Walter. He hits Walter with the Torpedo Moscow. Walter kicks out at 2, and it looked like he had such despair. He was on the verge of crying because he didn't know if he still believed in himself. and that super emotion that he had at that point of the match. I was like, that guy's a great wrestler. Like, that guy gets it.
And the whole story from the last time he got his ass beat, it took him 6 months. He was going literally insane. It's such beautiful storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both of them are excellent storytellers.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, these guys, they told a wonderful story. I've talked enough, though. I need to kick it over to Mags. Mags, I need your help in answering this question because a lot of it was floated around online like it was expected to. But Walter, Ilya Dragunov, is this a match of the year contender?
Without a shadow of a doubt. I'm going to kind of echo what Ray and Ori have said, that it's so hard to live up to having a match of the year. We very rarely see a match get run back and it meets the expectations of the match that came before it. And we can use the most extensive vernacular to describe this, and we wouldn't get within a tenth of saying what this match did. You need to go and watch this match. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And we knew it was going to be violent. That was a given. We knew that these two were going to destroy each other's body. What we didn't expect, or what a lot of us didn't expect, is the storytelling that we got in this match. We got at the beginning Dragunov coming out like that kind of noisy little ankle biting puppy who's just an annoyance, really trying to wind up the big dog of Walter. Then we see the kind of the chopping of the redwood, trying to get Walter down off his feet. We then see Dragunov trying to focus on choking Walter out and resisting getting that brutal chop. It's such brilliant storytelling in the casing of beating the living piss out of someone. And believe you me, if you go back and watch the promo that we got with Dragunov after the match, this guy has got a chest of minced beef. He is cut up to shreds. You can see cuts in the shape of fingers from Walter. This guy was demolished. And I'm gonna kind of circle back to the beginning. This was better than the first match that we've seen in NXT UK. How they did it, God only knows, but they have made a believer out of me that you don't need to have foreign objects to hit somebody with a weapon. It was brutal, glorious, brutal. I loved every second of it. My only issue now is this the end of Walter in WWE? There was a lot of rumor that he signed a 3-year deal. He was champion for more than 2 of those years. I think his contract it runs out in November. There's always been the talk of him not wanting to leave that European base that he's got.
Yeah,
but
he loves Austria. He loves Austria.
But the thing is, Europe's still locked down. We're not getting the wrestling that was around when Walter signed for NXT UK. So I think the options are pretty limited there. Maybe in that 3 years, his kind of stance over coming to the US has changed. I want to see Walter in NXT. I want to see Walter in main roster. I want to see him chopping the shit out of every single person on that WWE roster, because that was glorious. I just want Walter every single day of my wrestling life. It was just amazing.
Good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it that much. I think we all did, though. I think it was a phenomenal match, and there's very rarely is there a match that actually makes perfection. Like, there's a lot of people who are like, "Oh, 5 stars this and 5 stars that. This is what makes a great match," and blah blah. No. This is perfection. This is how you make a great match.
There is no hyperbole you can attach to this match. If you have the mental prowess to describe this match, then go for it, because it deserves all of the praise. Absolutely all of it.
If you didn't like this match, I have serious concerns for your love of wrestling.
Yeah, you should just
Just
stop.
flat out.
You should just
Tell
stop
me
watching
why.
wrestling.
Yeah.
Why?
No,
Why?
if somebody who doesn't like this match, I'd like to know why.
Why?
Yeah. Good. I think we
Ticks
all
all the
agree
boxes.
here on this panel. You need to watch this match.
Yes.
And there's no reason why you shouldn't like this match.
Ooh.
This is good. What, Ori?
Ooh, sigh in the chat.
Sai in the chat does.
I will quote AJ Styles on this, and Lesnar, he don't want none.
He
He's
does.
running scared, and he don't really want none.
It would be interesting, ponytail Brock.
Can you imagine?
Goro
Instead of a dick sword, he's just got Walter's hand right across his chest. That is brilliant. Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next match then. This one here, the undisputed finale. Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, 2 out of 3 falls. First fall, straight up pinfall submission match. Second fall is a street fight. Third match is in a steel cage. Now, obviously, as we just went on for a good 10 minutes or so, following Walter Ilya Dragunov would be a very immense task here. Ray, I'll start with you. Ray, how did Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly live up to these expectations?
Well, they lived up great. I mean, they were going to bring a different level of brutality. And so, something I just realized literally just now. I have made fun of Kyle O'Reilly for weeks about picking the traditional match to be first. I thought it's the dumbest face move in the history of dumb face moves. Like, it is so stupid, right? It's dumbest because why would you choose that? But the genius of it was that little 5 minutes gave the crowd a little cool down to pop for the rest of the match. And they did it geniusly in that it was a very quick finish and they moved the fuck on to the good stuff, right? And then it went crazy. Also, those two are two of the best in the world. They have impeccable. You're talking about following each other around continents with Dragunov and Walter. Cole and O'Reilly have fought in every promotion like alive. So, even some that don't even exist anymore. So they have chemistry out the wazoo. I made a joke in the chat, in our chat, that Kyle O'Reilly is a sadomasochist because there's no way he puts himself to that much pain willingly. Like, he has to like it. But they have great chemistry. I think the match was really good. We all, I think, can admit that the finish was different. I'm not against the finish, but in blood feuds like that, you expect to see a guy laying, and to have him tap just felt not final. And I know this should be the opposite, because if you tap, that's as final as it gets, because you forced a man to quit, or woman, at your will. Didn't feel that way to me. It felt almost flukish to me, watching it the way it happened, especially seeing the beating that Kyle took. Match was great. I do think, though, that these two and the 3 stages of hell match, or whatever you call however you want to call it, the 2 out of 3 falls match, is indicative of a lot of the reasons why people fell off of NXT, because they've been on top for so long and taking so much time. And I'm not saying it's not quality, because it's fantastic quality. Adam Cole's fantastic. Kyle O'Reilly's fantastic. But think of the people who went on this card, right? You had to put the tag titles on NXT last week with MSK and Imperium. You got Hit Row and Legado, who you have a North American title match waiting for you with Santos and with Swerve. That's next week. The finals of the breakout tournament, you had to put that next week. If Kushida didn't get hurt or sick or whatever it was, that match with him and Roddy Strong, built up for weeks, had to be on TV. All they had to be put to the side for another Adam Cole Kyle O'Reilly match. So I don't want. We can talk about if Adam Cole's going to leave or not. But regardless of that, it's good to see that they're finally done with each other, and we could get to some new things now, because NXT needs freshness right now. And I think that's what this show kind of led us to, is freshness in the main event, freshness with the women's title, freshness with a new face of the company in Kyle O'Reilly, freshness with the $1 Million Championship, freshness in this UK, and that's kind of what I think the show and the brand needs.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely great points for sure. I do think that the freshness is something that they're looking towards here, especially with some of these revamped changes that are supposedly, up in the air, up for grabs here. I think for NXT. Ori, I'll kick it over to you next. As far as the Adam Cole Kyle O'Reilly legacy match is concerned here, how does this stack? First, what did you think of the match? This one here, but how does it stack up with the rest of their givings here? I mean, because obviously their matches in Ring of Honor and PWG, and
New
Japan. Yeah, I mean they've toured the world themselves, and they've had some pretty killer matches here in NXT. But again, how does that stack up? How does this match here stack up to the rest of that legacy?
I don't know. And I think a lot of it has to do for me specifically with that finish. It was very interesting. It was very different. I didn't dislike the finish. It was just, I guess, not for something that is supposed to be final. It just didn't quite feel that way. I think maybe if the match setup was done in such a way that while Adam Cole is focusing on Kyle O'Reilly's ribs, Kyle O'Reilly is focusing on that leg or the knee or the ankle, something that makes more sense as to why Adam Cole would tap quite so quickly. It just, something about it isn't completely meshing. I do agree with Ray, though. I think having that traditional match right off the jump, giving them that 5 minutes, and not only that, having Kyle O'Reilly get that first pin helped everything cool down and then build back up once he got that pin. Because Adam Cole had said specifically, I'm going to beat you in the first two. We're not even going to a third, and we're going to be done. So it was very smart booking in that way. And, Adam Cole focused on those ribs so much that I would be surprised if Kyle O'Reilly has a rib still intact. Like, it really seemed like by the end of that match, like every rib all the way, they're in pieces, all of them. And it's going to take a miracle. He's like Humpty Dumpty at this point. It's going to take a miracle to put him back together, but I don't know. And it's the finish. It wasn't a bad finish. It was just,
It does kind of come out of nowhere, it seems, because we had Kyle working Adam's ankle, fairly regularly through the match, but I didn't expect it to be that sudden for sure.
Yeah, I don't feel like maybe it was commentary didn't focus on them talking about the knee or the ankle as much. Like, for it to make more sense to me for him to tap that quickly and not maybe turn in, in some way because they were basically in a corner. Adam Cole could have easily turned his body, reached out and grabbed a rope, or reached around Kyle and grabbed a rope, or at least tried to, if commentary would have called more attention to it, if they would have put more spots in the match where he was focusing on that knee or leg or ankle of Adam Cole, it would have made more sense to me, as the end, the finale. Like, it all felt like a big finale, end of the end type deal until that finish.
Yeah, and I can definitely see where you're coming from, because when last time that we had this, and I will speak more about this here in just a moment, but the last time that we had a scenario just like this, it was Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, and we had that spectacular moment of both of them clinging onto each other and basically a suicide jump off the top of the cage through a table or through a stack of tables, and Cole was just the one lucky enough to land on top of Gargano and get the 3 count, and that was a big finale. This one here, it seemed very quick in that Cole was put in that heel hook. Kyle cranked it, and Cole just tapped out, and it was just like, wow, that's it, it's over, it's done. Mags, obviously I want your thoughts on this match, but I'm going to give you my opinion, and I would like not a debate, but a response, if you will, a rebuttal, if you will. Okay,
you're a brave man.
I am, and I'm gonna try this because I love you.
But I must kill you.
but I'm feeling dangerous. I feel like this match had two things really going against it. The first one being this followed Walter Ilya Dragunov, which who could follow that? First off, but also just like with the Gargano and Cole series, just like with the Gargano and Ciampa series, I feel like NXT, one fault that they really have to get over if they're going to be turning this next corner here, is they have a really bad habit of trying to make things too grandiose, if that makes sense. They try to make it way too big of a moment to where it's like, huh? Mm-hmm. And that's why I personally don't feel like this match really stacks up well compared to their other ones, even in other promotions. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, how did you feel?
I agree with a lot of what you said, and I kind of want to go back to a point that Ray made about how the audience and the fan base are getting kind of tired of these epic kind of legacy battles. And I think in their own kind of subtle way, NXT have listened, because whilst this was still a grandiose, as you put it, affair, it was still a 2 out of 3 falls. It was really kind of made to be a big spectacle. 2 of the falls were actually pretty quick.
Very quick.
The first fall was shockingly quick. I did not expect that fall to end as quickly as it did. I thought we were going to get this kind of slow build with it, especially with it being the pure wrestling match. I thought that may be the match that took the longest amount of time, but it seemed over in a matter of minutes. Then we had the whole middle part where they just wanted to beat the living piss out of each other and destroy each other's body parts. And then we get to the third fall, the cage match that kind of blew off. And again, it was really short to the point where it was over and done before we even knew it. And going to Ori's point about the finish, I think this was a case of maybe an idea sounding good, and the logistics of it just not kind of paying off as well as it did. I've got to give them props for trying different stuff. It's hard to be unique in wrestling nowadays. It's pretty much that everything has been done at least once. So to try this kind of finish, I give them props for that. It didn't really work, and the crowd kind of let them know. But if we're going to get this stripped back NXT style that is being lauded in wrestling social media, I think that one thing that has to go is these epic kind of legacy battles, because when you have something so often, it becomes less and less special. When you're seeing every takeover, a huge match, a huge blood feud match that has to end with 50 false finishes and somebody almost dying, you start to expect it, which means then it's not as special as it should be. So yeah, I agree with you. I think this, whilst in kind of isolation, it was still a really, really good match. But and I can't believe I'm going to say this, an Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly match was the weakest match on this card. And I feel dirty saying that. Yeah. I mean, that's like saying it is the least expensive of all the Rolexes. It was still absolutely amazing.
Least favorite kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really didn't expect you to say that. That's interesting.
I know. I'm feeling like I've hurt myself. I've Walter chopped my own chest with that take. But yeah, my first initial thoughts after seeing like how quick the first finish was and how kind of a damp squib the second finish was, with how well the other matches went. Yeah, this just felt like it just didn't live up to what it should have been, and maybe that's because we had a submission in the Volta match, and then we had a submission at the end of this, and it took a little bit of that away. Perhaps it's something like that in the cold light of day, and thinking over it after actually getting some sleep, I might change my mind. But as of right now, I think this is it feels like the weakest match on a very good card.
And I can understand why you would say that, because I think that maybe what you're feeling is the same kind of disappointment that maybe I'm feeling, and I'm sure many at home are feeling as well, thinking, this is going to be the epic. And I think that's the inherent problem that I wanted to address here is I think we're having too many of these epics, as we call them, in such a short span of time. That you're really not giving a lot of rest to us being like, oh, okay, that happened. Okay,
yeah,
we can't appreciate it.
And I really want to add this caveat. This is me being the most spoiled wrestling fan of all, because we've been treated to some glorious wrestling from NXT. And if I am disappointed in this match, it's because we've had so many great matches that eventually you're going to have one that kind of just doesn't hit the mark. And unfortunately, this is the match that did that for me.
Yeah. Ray, I think you had raised your hand. Did you want to say something or add something?
He wanted to slap me through the screen.
No, I
Shut
didn't.
Up, Max.
There's many a time that I want to do that. There's not now. I just want to say that with these epics, at least the Gargano Ciampa one made sense because of what had happened. This one made sense because of Undisputed Era for 4 years. Gargano and Cole was just an epic just because
a vanity project for both of them.
Yes, absolutely. But the problem is, you can't set the bar so high in your first match. The first Adam Cole Kyle O'Reilly match set the bar so high that it was just downhill because the level of brutality that they did in that first match, you can't keep matching that. And it's different. I think the difference between that and something like Walter Dragunov is Walter and Dragunov are having regular matches. It's just extra brutal. They went through a stage. They tied each other up with chains. They broke everything. They brain busted each other like 3 times on the stairs. Like, you can only go so far. And then, I'm with you on. It's not. I don't know if it was the weakest match on the card, but I understand why the epic thing didn't work, because you have to build, and they didn't build. They started here and then went back.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Ori, any final notes on this one?
Nope. I think everybody else has said it perfectly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to introduce one last thing here on the Adam Cole Kyle O'Reilly bit, and I don't intend for this to take a long time. I don't want it to take a long time. I fear that it might take a long time. I fear that it might. But because I have one other thing I want to address right after this as we close the show, I'm going to ask it, and I just want a brief yes or no answer on what you think. Brief yes or no answer on what you think. And I'll start with Ori. Ori, the rumors are that Adam Cole has not signed a new contract as of yet. Is he staying or is he going? And it doesn't have to be AEW, it doesn't have to be in New Japan, it doesn't have to be whatever. Is he staying or is he going?
I honestly don't know. I really don't. I can see. Listen, I can play devil's advocate for both situations. Honestly, there are points. There's nitpicky things. There's like I just saw something today where somebody pointed out that when CM Punk was in the ring on Friday on Rampage, he had AC written on the side of one of his shoes, and that's supposed to be a clue that Adam Cole's coming. There's so many different things. And look, that's
welcome
a great
to the
thing.
internet wrestling
Right,
community.
right.
Because they do them reaches. Believe you me.
Exactly. And sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's really fun. And sometimes, different wrestlers or companies, they put out these breadcrumbs on purpose to make us think things that aren't there, to try and bait and switch us. And it's fine. It's fun. Arguments can be made in both directions, whether or not he's staying. Well, he's keeping his Twitch, so obviously he's going. Well, they could have an exception clause, so he's staying. Well, he would work better on main roster, so he should stay. And there's
Morse code saying AEW.
Yeah,
I've seen it all today.
There's arguments to be made all over the place, and I believe nothing. Like, even look, if you go to Twitter right now, my profile picture is makeup that I did for Rampage, and I don't care how heavily, well, specifically for CM Punk on Rampage, and that could have been the biggest bait and switch. Like, I believed, as much as I believed that he was coming, I was still willing to believe that we were being fooled, because I believe nothing until I actually see it. You could tell me from anybody, the most credible source in the world, I know this, and like, you know what? I'll believe it when he shows up on the screen.
Hey, fair enough.
I love how succinct you were with that incredibly not long-winded answer.
Sorry. I tried.
I like that answer, though. I really do.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely makes sense. It really does.
Ray, I'll kick it over to you next. Again, Adam Cole, is he leaving or is he staying?
Let me tell you a story. Four scored 7 years ago. No. I think he stays. I think he'll be in AEW eventually, unless he becomes like a superstar. But I think he stays now. The money's too good. The leverage is too strong. I think he stays.
That's a fair answer. I like that. Mags, Adam Cole, does he stay or is he leaving?
Well, I will be succinct. I think it's Adam Cole. Bye-bye. Wow.
All right.
You flipped in like 30 minutes, dog? That's what we're doing?
Because you were both like, we've got I don't know, we've got he's staying. Why not? Just we'll cover all the bases. So
he's playing the game. He's playing the game.
Somebody on the podcast was correct.
Well, that's interesting.
We've got a 3-1 shot.
There you go. Mag's covering all the bases. Boom. All right, let's end this show with an intriguing little something. We can call it a game, I guess. I don't think it's really a game, but I want to know what you guys think here. Samoa Joe takes that title off of Karrion Kross, right? Fantasy book it for me here. Who is up first for Samoa Joe? I will kick it over to Mags first. Mags, who is going to be the challenger for Samoa Joe? Or who do you want to see challenge Samoa Joe first?
I want to see Peter Dunne challenge Samoa Joe for that title.
That's
I'm
interesting.
not even going to give any context. I want to see Pete Dunne versus Samoa Joe.
No further explanation. Just I want to see Pete Dunne face Samoa Joe. Okay, that works for me. Pete Dunne, Samoa Joe. That is Mags's pick. Good stuff here. Ray, Samoa Joe. He's the new NXT champion. Who do you want to see face him?
So want and think are different.
Okay,
definitely
that's fine.
Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne is definitely going to be there because they've teased that too much. They keep walking from each other and staring each other down.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see him face Pete Dunne. Who I think will be his next challenger is the winner of the breakout tournament. So Odyssey Jones or Carmelo Hayes. I think that's going to be the next challenger. But I think the next big takeover match is Samoa Joe versus Peter Dunne.
Yes.
AKA
from the Black Country.
AKA Mags's neighbor.
So we've got 2 votes here for Pete Dunne. This is very interesting. Ori, who do you want to see? And well, who do you think will challenge Samoa Joe first? And who do you want to see challenge Samoa Joe?
I would definitely be invested with Pete Dunne. I'm here for it.
There's a reason I like you, and there it is.
But as far as who will actually challenge him, being that I have fallen off the NXT wagon and I'm not as familiar with who all is there, I think Ray has a good point that, you know, if they're building up some type of tournament, you know, breakout star or what have you, that would make sense, you know?
Hey, that makes sense to me. I will complete this in saying, yes, I think Pete Dunne is inevitable. But as far as who I would like to see face Samoa Joe next, there does happen to be one guy in mind. He's very, very good at the graps. He's very good at it. He happens to be a very large Austrian man who stole the show tonight, and I would absolutely love. I would love to see Walter versus Samoa
Joe's
Joe.
only just come back.
Yeah, that's what I'm
just
thinking.
come back?
Why not?
Why do you want to kill Joe so?
I'm not trying to kill Joe.
Why do you hate Samoa Joe so much?
I'm not
Why
trying
would
to.
you
I'm
do
not.
that?
I'm not
Show
trying to-
me on the doll where
No.
Samoa Joe touched you.
I'm just saying they would put on a killer match together. Once, not now, not in a few months, but like maybe towards Survivor Series weekend, Samoa Joe, Walter. Once Joe gets that ring shape in and he gets that endurance back that we know that he has, because for a man of his size, he can move and he's got stamina. If he got that back up, I think that him and Walter would tear the house down.
It'd be magic.
Yeah.
It'd be
Well,
disgusting, bloody, horrific magic.
and Joe's going straight back to commentary because he ain't wrestling no more.
Because that's it. That is Joe done.
Well, I mean, if Mags is right and Walter's contract is coming up, I mean, I could be one of those magical sending offs for Walter. I mean, we've had Kenta Kobashi face Samoa Joe in an epic in Ring of Honor. I mean, yes, that was almost 20 years ago, and gosh, that's really makes me feel old. But I feel like they could pull it off. I feel like Joe could give to Walter the way that Kobashi gave to Joe. I think that would be beautiful. But anyway, that's been our NXT Takeover 36 recap and review show. Thank you to everybody who's joined us in the chat and who's tuned in. It's been a wonderful pleasure getting to be the moderator for this beautiful panel. And thank you to our beautiful guests here, of course, for taking part and having this dialogue here on the Radio Tekkers YouTube and Twitch channels. Ori, you made your debut tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where can people find more of you? Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. We want to know where you can be found for your content and for your online activities. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me Monday nights on thechairshot.com or Chairshot Radio Network, wherever you get your podcast, with you two lovely gentlemen above me, Mags and Tanner, as we look back at the Attitude Era on a change in attitude. Give it a 2021 eyeball. Was it really as good as we thought? All that kind of good stuff.
It was terrible.
It's pretty terrible where we are right now. Let's just put that out there.
It's bleak.
It's
It's so bleak.
It's rough.
That's the perfect way to describe it. It's very
It's
bleak.
rough. It's a rough watching. I'm not going to lie. But you can always catch me there. You can also catch me on Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram at Ori the Draw. Right there.
Fantastic. And once again, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for making your debut. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having me.
And Ray, thank you for returning tonight. We greatly appreciate that. I know you and I tried to link up last night to do SummerSlam.
Real
But
life sucks, bro.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I'm so thankful that you got a chance to join us here tonight. Where can people find more of you and your content?
Yeah, whenever Mags lets me out the house, I do podcasts. So that's one thing.
Which is not often.
It's not
Not
bad.
often. Yeah,
not a bad
or actually probably too often. On Twitter, first and foremost, I'm at
There you go.
Cash. REY as in Mysterio, CASH as in dollars number one. Number two, I am a fairly prominent member. That's very highly esteemed of myself. I don't mean it to sound like that, but
I'm a very prominent
I'm
member.
a big fucking deal.
He took my whole
Rewind.
gimmick, y'all.
Rewind.
I'm the draw. Ray the draw. At Ray the draw.
I'm a very regular member of Chairshot Radio Network. I'm everywhere around there. I got multiple shows and whatnot. So yeah, any day of the week, holla at me. You'll probably see me sometime there. And y'all might see me tomorrow on Radio Tekkers. We'll talk about that later.
Interesting. Mags.
Yeah, so considering Ray just kind of shot the whole gimmick there, I'm going to shoot from the hip now. I am honestly blessed to be able to work with you three on a regular basis. It's truly an honor how an idiot from the Black Country has got so many amazing creators to work with, and hopefully, in the very, very near future, we're going to see more of Ray and Ori right here on Radio Tekkers, because they have graciously accepted our offer to help expand the content that we put out here on the channel. We're a very close-knit team, and there's only a handful of people who we really wanted to reach out to and bring aboard, and these two were at the top of a very, very short list. So we are honoured and privileged that they accepted, and we're going to be definitely working to get their content out here on a regular basis. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm not really I don't really get very excited about things like this, but this is one project that I have put my heart and soul in. Me and Tanner, behind the scenes, we have worked so hard in getting Radio Tekkers to where it is today, and having people like Ray and Ori come in and adding a level of class to this team. It just shows that we're going places, and we're glad that they're coming on that journey with us.
We needed the class upgrade.
Yes, because we're scum. We're scum.
We're not
There's been a lot of superlatives thrown my way. I don't know if class is one of them, but
I don't think I got that one either.
Listen, you may be the most self-deprecating person I know. You were the master.
Talk about Ori.
I mean, Ori is so special. She doesn't even know how amazing that she is. I'm honestly, I can't put into words how harped me and Tanner are that you two are involved in this. It really means the absolute world to us. But I've kissed your ass enough now. Let's get on out of here.
Plug your own shit.
More.
Follow me down here at Podfather Mags if you're listening to this on the audio. You can find me on every show on Radio Tekkers without fail, because I just turn up. I'm punctual. And I'm also quite busy over there on Chairshot as well. I get to work with these amazing people for a changing attitude and the midweek mainstay / headlock trauma and 5 rounds. So yeah, I've got my greasy little fingers in a lot of content pies. Woo.
He'll make you a podcast you can't refuse.
That was beautiful.
Yes.
Well, we definitely invite each and every one of you, if you've not subscribed yet to Radio Tekkers, I don't know what you're thinking. Go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button.
It takes a second. Come on, you lazy douchebag.
Go to sleep now.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, people. Please sub.
We've asked, and now we're threatening. So yes, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. We would greatly appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at Radio Tekkers, or you can follow my personal account here as well. This is right below me, Tanner at Texas Gentleman _. But yeah, I would care much more if you just smash that subscribe button and followed us on Twitter at Radio Tekkers. That's where you can find all the content. We've got Chain Wrestling. We've got 5 rounds with Mags covering MMA coverage. We've got these special presentations here. I know Ray and Ori are going to be really diving into giving you guys some wrestling content here very, very soon. And then, of course, we've got the flagship, the Radio Tekkers shows where we're giving you news, we're giving you rapid reviews, we're giving you watch-alongs for the Premier League, for all sorts of good proper football stuff. So yes, we greatly appreciate each and every one of you for watching. And keep it up. Thank you so much for watching this. For this fine panel. Again, I am Tanner, aka the Texas Gentleman. Y'all take care and have yourselves a great rest of your evening.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.